All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing another beer from the Finback Brewery, and they're out of Queens, New York, and this is their Beyond. So they're calling this a Hoppy Blond Ale that is brewed with a raspberry, coconut, and watermelon. Comes in at 6% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in the time of review. This can is approximately 7 weeks old. So here on the side, it says it's a Hoppy Blond Ale, dry hopped with Mosaic hops, and then finished with raspberry, coconut, and watermelon. This beer is brewed in support of New York City Pride. So yeah, pretty cool. The last Hoppy Blond Ale I had from Finback was their Fancy People, and it came off more as like a New England style pale ale. I forgot what fruits were in that, but I didn't get a lot of like the fruits as far as like being authentic and like tasting the fruits themselves. It just came off as like a fruit forward New England style pale ale. So I'm hoping I actually get the raspberry, coconut, and watermelon because I love coconut, and raspberry and watermelon are delicious too. And this just sounds like a beer that might be, you know, super tasty and refreshing and crushable in this hot summer weather. So let's give it a pour. So yeah, this is pouring out like a New England style beer. And that's kind of what I remember Fancy People being exactly like. It was almost to a T like that. So yeah, anyway, like I said, looks like a New England style beer, very hazy orange, yeah, pretty much like a deeper orange color, like a milky orange color. Has about a finger and a half of a really soap sudsy head. You can barely see it over the Buffalo skyline on the Community Beer Works Tiku. But yeah, it looks, like I said, a New England style something. Pale ale, IPA, double IPA. Let's get a nose on it. Ooh, definitely getting that raspberry. So I'm getting the raspberry, not really the coconut or the watermelon, although watermelon is usually hard to pick out on beer unless you're using like some kind of extract or some kind of like natural flavor or artificial flavor where you're getting like the watermelon Jolly Rancher. One of the few beers that does the whole watermelon thing right, I feel, is Green Zebra from Founders. That comes off as like authentic watermelon. But it's tough to, I feel, impart watermelon flavors into beers. You need to use so much of it that I don't think a lot of breweries do. They just go the easier route. I'm not saying they did that here. I'm just saying I can't pick up the watermelon in here. Little bit of like a biscuity, crackery malt base, probably from just, you know, the base blonde ale. Yes, like, I'd say like a sweet white bread. Like I said, picking up on that raspberry, I wouldn't necessarily say it's distinctively raspberry, it's just like a generic red berry. Then I'm getting like mango and peach and apricot, a lot of stone fruit vibes on this one. Ooh. A little bit of like a honeydew melon there, not a watermelon. Wow, that was on the last sip right at the end, or last sniff. Yeah, again, this is, if I was doing this blind, I don't think I could tell you there's actual, I don't think I'd be able to tell you there's actual fruit in here. It just comes off as like a fruit-forward hoppy beer of some sort. Now I got a little bit of toasted coconut. Maybe it just needs to open up in the glass a little bit. This isn't too cold. It's been on my fridge for, you know, 20, 25 minutes, so probably closer to 50 degrees. Yeah, it actually smells good, but like I said, it doesn't smell like authentic fruit. I'm getting whiffs of all the fruits here, but just they're not big and impactful, but it smells pretty good, so let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. Wow. I'm getting every single fruit on the taste. That is cool. I don't know necessarily how well they work with one another. Right up front, definite raspberry. There's like a raspberry sweetness and tartness. Passes through the palate, a little bit of that watermelon, like a straight on watermelon juice. Not super sweet, but just like the juice, like the characteristics you would get from a watermelon juice without sweet, you know, the sweetness that would be with that associated with it. And then it finishes with a slight toasted coconut on the back end. Underneath all that bready, biscuity, almost crackery malt base, a little bit sweeter. Still getting the peach, apricot, and mango. It is definitely coming off as more like a candied, like a candied peach gummy ring, candied mango, like a dried fruit sensation with the crystallized sugars. Body on this one is 6%, lower side of medium body. The mouthfeel, it's crisp. It's actually quite crisp. Relatively clean. Yeah, very effervescent. A little bit of smoothness in there. Not really soft or pillowy, or, you know, there's no creaminess. Even though it looks like a New England style IPA, the mouthfeel is more just like a generic, pretty much blonde ale. Wow, I'm really enjoying this. as you can see, I'm just drinking it, not really saying anything, which is a rarity because I like to talk a lot. Usually the stuff I say, no meaning behind it. I just like to hear myself talk, apparently. But yeah, so not a ton going on here. It's not like a ton of complexity. But what this is a really tasty, distinctive Hoppy Blonde Ale. It doesn't drink like a straight-on New England style pale ale or like IPA. It actually has that like blonde ale base to it, the malt sweetness, the malt character. I'm getting all of the fruits from the raspberry to the watermelon to the coconut. They're nuanced and subtle, and they're not really, like I said, big and bold and boisterous, but at the same time, I'm definitely picking up on them. And then the Mosaic hops imparting, some of that stone fruit character for me. And yeah, this is really easy to drink. 6% alcohol by volume. I can't tell this is like over 5 at all. Yeah, wow. This is definitely better than their Fancy People. And I think I can give their Fancy People a 4. So I'm going to give Beyond from Finback a low 4.25 out of 5. I'm going to go 4.2 out of 5. Damn tasty beer. If you've had this one before, let me know what you think about it. Price point on this one, I believe, I couldn't find exactly how much it was at the brewery, but usually these Hoppy Blonde Ales with the different fruits in them or adjuncts are usually around $16 to $18 a 4-pack. So you're probably looking at $4 to $4.50 a can. I believe I paid $5 for this can, and that's because I got it at the One Stop Brew Shop in Rochester, New York, and they're going to bump up the price 50 cents to $1 per can because they got to make money. They went to the brewery, got some cans of it and brought it back. So I'm fine with paying an extra 50 cents to $1 and supporting a local bottle shop. The availability, like I said, usually brewery only, but a lot of places in New York will get Finback, whether that's them going to the brewery and bringing it back, or whether a distributor gets their hands on something and they grab it that way. But most of the time, it's brewery only. I've seen it trickle out into like Massachusetts and neighboring states of New York, but for the most part, it's New York centric. So yeah, I think the price point is fine. The availability kind of sucks, but whatever. Finback's been killing it, and I love what they do. And 4.2 out of 5 for Beyond from them. Really good score. I really do enjoy this one. If you've had this one before, let me know what you think about it, because I am thoroughly enjoying this one on this extremely muggy, not super hot day. It's like mid to high 70s, but like the humidity is like 85, 90% as we speak, and it's crazy. So this is very, very, very refreshing. So appreciate everybody stopping by. Till the next one. Cheers.